Hi, this is Trent Nelson with Infinite Healing, and somebody wanted to know about trauma-based mind control or mind programming, and so I'm happy to speak on that as much as I'm aware of it and tell you what it is and why you need to be aware of how to deal with it. So the reason we want to talk about trauma-based mind programming is so that you can guard yourself against this kind of mind programming and basically what's being handed to us from the New World Order mind programmers, and that's the aspect of it that I'm aware of or educated about. So this is what trauma-based mind control programming is. It works on this principle. If a person has an agenda that they're trying to make happen, and the agenda is that, and what I talked about in another video is that about 95% of all the people in this country and 90% of the people on this planet are basically under some form of mind control programming and is being programmed to carry out specific agendas of what's known as the New World Order and these changes that are happening around us. So this programming is foreign programming to what you came into this life with, so it's being handed to you other than what it is that you originally were designed to come into this life with. So the way that it works is if I can knock you off center or off balance or get you out of a peaceful state, then there's a moment when that happens, which is you could say your spirit leaves the body for a second, your mind goes unconscious, you get knocked off your center, you get pushed into anger. Somehow your spirit is not fully present and in a peaceful state. Then when this happens, an external source can introduce mind programming into you, either from a remote location using a specific frequency, or the actual spirit of another person can jump in and program you. So at the moment of trauma, which most people experience what's called out-of-body experiences, this is when the spirit leaves the body or people go unconscious. So this is when that foreign frequency can infiltrate your mind and basically program thoughts, specific thoughts. Thoughts are what get you to do things, and they can program these thoughts into your mind. This would be, I've tried to figure out a way to explain this to make it simple. So here's a metaphor. Let's say that somebody's sitting at a computer and they're programming a new piece of software, and they're actually entering the code of the software. And let's say while they're entering the zeros and ones, which is what makes up the code for the software program, and is also what the thoughts are in our mind, are basically like the zeros and ones when you're programming software. Let's say that you stepped away from your desk for a minute to go and get some coffee, and while you were gone, somebody stepped in and sat down at your computer and started typing additional or different code into that piece of software. Well, that change alters the way that the software functions. So so that's a good metaphor for that. And if I do this enough times, if I enter enough code that you're unaware of, I can radically alter the direction of your life and get you to do a certain agenda that the programmers are trying to get us to carry out. So if I can do this enough times, if I can sneak up on their keyboard enough times, then, and I can do this through different means. I can do this through a psychic medium. I can do this through an outside frequency. And if I can insert just a few bars of code each time, then I can radically alter that software program, that human mind, that person. So the agenda of the mind programmers is to find ways to get people out of balance so that they can eventually be programmed fully according to whatever they want to see as their agendas. Sometimes you can actually feel this when it's happening. It's when something outside of your normal mind patterns changes. And either you experience this as somebody, it literally feels like somebody pushes you to think a different thought, or it's it feels like somebody jumps into you, or it feels like what was I just thinking about? And all of a sudden your train of thought is thrown off track of what it was that you were thinking. At that moment, there can be an outside frequency or an outside source trying to knock you off balance so that they can insert those few bars of code. And through a frequency, will literally make a statement to you. That's what the inserting the bars of code is. The person is actually making a statement to you, or giving a command, much like you would to a computer, and giving instructions through you or to you. And so this trauma-based programming, it happens through getting you to be off balance. Now, if you look around you, most people don't experience peace very often. It actually looks like much of society is basically programmed to throw you off balance, from people running into each other in conversations, the media trying to confuse, all the different information and instructions that we're given, and basically causes us to be in a state of confusion, which knocks us off balance and makes us less peaceful. So at that moment, that's when an outside source can come in and program, and you can see how great that would be if you can program people to do what you want. Let's say I develop a company, and my company sells a certain product. In order to guide you to purchase that product, I can simply program a situation to throw you off balance, and I can actually make a suggestion to you at that moment to purchase a specific product. And so this is very different than the old style of marketing that we're used to, and everybody knows that marketing affects us and that we are driven to purchase certain products. But this is very different. This is saying that there are people who can actually make us make our choices differently than we would if we were very centered, and that there are certain people with agendas trying to do this to people in order to make these agendas and to sell different products and to basically establish this new world order. So there is this happening at this time. And so what I recommend for people who would like this to not happen to them is that you learn meditation, and you learn how to be centered, and you learn how to be peaceful, so that it's more difficult for somebody to do this to you. And really the only protection, because of the fact that the mind doesn't have a firewall, that means that it's much easier for somebody to break into your mind than it is to break into your personal computer at your house. So the only way to guard yourself is to be centered and to be at peace. And if you're not sure what that means or what that looks like or what that is, meditation, which I have videos on meditation on YouTube, is a great way to learn how to center yourself, balance yourself. This will get you in touch with the kind of thinking that you have and the type of mind patterns that you have, so that when they're altered, you're aware of it. And so that's really what I understand is to be your best and only defense against this kind of outside programming. So I recommend you see my other YouTubes, and particularly on meditation. I believe the YouTube is called Infinite Meditation, and hopefully that will help you. And I hope that this answered your question and gave some information on this topic. So thanks for watching this YouTube.